T, do me a favor before you get started. I want you to show Grandma something on her phone.
Who is
Yeah.
that? Can you mute while you talking to T, please?
My phone.
Thank you.
My phone.
Okay, so did the majority of everybody get a chance to oh, tell me if you can see the presentation?
Yep, I see it. Oh, Joseph Solomon, we have some feedback coming from you.
Okay, I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
So the path of the PC tech was the gist of chapter 1, and it basically went into in that chapter it explained the importance of the certification, detailed the certification objectives, and describe how to become CompTIA A+ certified, which is what we're all trying to do. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm always going to be looking for feedback. So I don't know if we're going to go, I'm just going to go through the slides and see. The modern PC tech needs to work with many devices running many different systems. Textbook describes how each system functions and interacts, and this chapter explains the credentials and the steps you need to take to gain them. So we know that when it comes to A+ certification, it covers everything from desktops to laptops. It has a lot more of the tablets and mobile phone information than the previous version. It also has some of the Linux and Apple stuff that wasn't included in the 801 series. So just understanding, and a lot of times PC, if anybody doesn't know, PC stands for, who is that? Calling user number 4. I don't know who that is, but you might need to mute yourself. What was I saying? We deal with a bunch of, PC. PC stands for personal computer, and a lot of times when people think of the term PC, they usually think of what they call IBM compatible computer, basically the Windows-based computers. And then, okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, back. Now, if we get feedback, then if DeMonte mutes you, then if you have a question, we'll never know, because we have no way of hearing you saying you have a question or whatever. So please mute your devices, your phones, your computers, your mics, everything, unless you have something to say. And if you have video going, I saw somebody's face pop up. I don't know who it was. But if you have your video activated, please turn that off as well, because it takes bandwidth away from the transmission. So that will lead to us having problems with the recording. When you want to watch the playback, we might have dropouts because the bandwidth was being pulled by the video.
Here, I'll take the host privileges so I can do the muting and stuff while you have the presenter.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So, the certification gives potential, clicking into the presentation mode takes me to a black screen. Gives potential clients or employers confidence in your abilities, which is true. A lot of times, people, you can know it, and they're like, do you have your certification? Do you have your certification? More so than, do you have a degree? That I try to explain to people that, especially in the technology field, a lot of the credentials that people look for are certifications versus a college degree. So when people want to go and say they want to take computer science and they want to take a bachelor's in computer science, but they really just want to fix PCs and network computers, and then we need to lead you down the path of certification, and that's the path that we're going down now. So the A plus certification shows competence in information technology, and we know information technology is a field of our work. Our field of work is information technology. And the CompTIA certification is, because they consider it a vendor neutral certification, so it's supposedly not geared towards a specific vendor, which is why they're adding more Linux and Apple stuff as they progress through the certifications. But the reality of the situation is a good 80 to 90% of computers that people work on are Windows-based. So the majority of the work is about Windows-based computers and the different Windows operating systems. Kim, you giving us feedback right now. You have a question? Oba, you also giving us feedback as well. So the covering of all of the information that we need to learn to pass both of the certification tests is supposed to be the equivalent of 12 months of hands-on experience. The reality of the situation is a lot of people are what we call paper tigers. They read and only study to the test, and they don't really have the hands-on experience, and then they go out into the world and gain experience once they have the certification. Sometimes it goes either or. Some places will hire you with experience and then help you to get your certifications, and then some places won't hire you at all if you don't have at least the A plus certification. A plus is like the screen door, the base level of certification, because like I said, it's vendor neutral, and it covers both the hardware and software side of being a PC technician. Any questions about anything I covered so far? I mean, I haven't covered much, but I just want to stop every time to ask. Going once, going twice, 3 times? Okay. So we don't need to really understand about CompTIA. CompTIA, they're a trade association. You become a member, you get your certification, and we'll talk about how much you need to renew. But they're all over the place. Every company has somebody who's CompTIA certified or a member of CompTIA. And they have A plus, Network plus, Security plus. That's what and they have a bunch of other certifications, but we call this the big 3 or the main 3 or the Holy Trinity, some people refer to it as, because A plus is the basics of hardware and software, learning how to build and repair and troubleshoot the computer. Network plus is one step further in learning how to network computers and the different components that you need to manage your network and understanding how traffic flows on a network. And Security Plus, of course, is about cybersecurity and securing that network and those computers. So the big 3 or the main 3 foundation-wise for a PC tech would be A plus, Network plus, and Security plus. And then you get into your vendor-specific certifications, which are like the Microsoft, the MCSE, and the Cisco certifications and all of that. Those are geared towards specific vendors. And, of course, you go to the website, and it gives a bunch of details about the organization and certification. Their website is a good reference for information. So, like I said, the Network Plus shows competency as a network technician. The Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert, that's all about Microsoft operating systems, and that's not just Windows, but you're getting into the Windows Server side as well. And then CCNA is the Cisco Certified Network Associate, shows the skills in handling Cisco products. And those are like outside of the CompTIA certifications. The MCSE and the CCNA are ones that you will hear people talk about getting as the next step after the A+.
Mhm.
Questions? And okay. So we have to pass 2 computer-based multiple choice exams. Now, the majority of the exams are multiple choice. The majority of the exam is multiple choice, but it also has you will get 1 to 5 simulation questions, and we'll get into that as time goes on because I'm going to be showing you samples of simulation questions as we go through the course so that you become familiar with them so you know what they are when you see them. The 901 220-901 covers terminology and technology along with the fundamental tasks. Usually it's like 901 is hardware and 902 is software, but they go hand in hand. So sometimes a person might think if they just want to do the software concentration, they can go straight 902. But if you don't cover all the terminology and all the parts and all of everything that goes together in 901, then you won't be. 902 is definitely harder. Take it from somebody who took the test. 901, my advice would be you study for the whole both tests. You study, you go hard for the 901, you go and you take the 901, you pass it, which gives you the confidence and the base. You have the familiarity of what the test looks like, the testing environment, things like that, and then you go. Like I took the 901 when I took it. I took the 901 on Saturday, and then I took the 902 on Monday. And do they have the scores? So 902 builds on the first exam, concentrating on operating system support, advanced configuration, and troubleshooting. That's more of what's covered in 902. And then, so this would be a sample of a multiple choice question. Your laser printer is printing blank pages. Which item should you check first? And once we get into the chapters and you understand about laser printers and the laser printing process and what parts do what, then you'll be able to answer this question with confidence. You'll see it again later. Like I said, it's Windows centric. Even though they say it's vendor neutral, it's very much focused on Windows and the different versions of the Windows operating system. So it's the limited scope of Linux and Mac, and then when we get into the mobile, we're going to cover iOS and Android, but the majority of the exam focuses on some Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1 because at the time when the 901 was issued, it was like right before 10 came out. So the next iteration would have 10. But in this one, they got rid of Windows XP, and so now the next ones in line are Vista 7, 8, and 8.1. 8.1 is 9, but they just didn't want to admit that they messed up so much on 8. So they just was like 8.1 because they jumped from 8.1 to 10. Right, because Windows 8.1 is 9, but they just didn't want to say so quickly that, oh my God, 8 was a disaster. But that's the reality of the situation. But we'll get into that. Any questions so far?
Are we sure?
I told y'all, ask questions. That's my pet peeve. If I go through this whole presentation, nobody don't have no questions, I'm going to have a problem with that. But we shall proceed. So, Windows 10 released after CompTIA announced the objectives for 901 and 902, like I said, and they expect to see Windows 10 update on the exams in the next year or two. The next one should come. Yes?
Pam has a question. If you could please type that into the chat box. And
I can't see the chat box because my whole screen is covered by the presentation, so you're going to have to read it.
Oh, yeah, when the question comes up, I'll read it.
Okay.
If Vista is so terrible to use, why does it remain on the test?
Because some people are still using it. and you need to be able, even though it was a crappy version, Windows is not going to say it was a crappy version, and so now we're not going to talk about it anymore, right? And two, people still have it, right? So if you encounter a machine that has Windows Vista, you need to be able to troubleshoot and know the difference between how things looked in Vista compared to when the 7 or 8 that you use today. So when it'll get to end of life. Like XP just got to end of life. Was it last year?
Last year, I think, yeah, last
August
year,
of last year, where they was like,
it's
if you
over.
still using Windows XP, it's a wrap for you. You get no more support. There's not going to be any more security patches, which puts you in a very vulnerable position because if they're not creating security patches, then that means that the hackers are shooting just for you. People who don't update security patches and people who are still running Windows XP, because then that means that they can run and try to develop programs and hacks based on the fact that you are not getting any new security updates from Microsoft and they're not giving you any new security patches. So you are the most vulnerable and you can't blame anybody because you didn't upgrade. When it gets to end of life, that's the end and you need to upgrade to, I wouldn't tell you to go to Vista. You just skip right over Vista and go to 7. But don't find yourself in this space where you get to end of life, and that's with hardware as well. Like sometimes you'll, like I know a real life instance, Comcast. I used to take phone calls for them, the cable company. I said that like everybody's cable company is Comcast. Comcast slash Xfinity is the cable company down here in Georgia, and it was in Maryland when I used to live in Maryland. But
I didn't know you was from here. Well, we'll keep going.
first of all, I'm not from there. I'm from the BX
Oh.
all day, and you know that. But I lived in the DC area for 12 years before I came to Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Right. The DMV is very familiar to me. But so they'll have people call in for service, and they have a modem from when they first got Comcast 12 years ago. And so they have a list of modems and routers that are end of life. So we can only give you but so much support, and we need you to upgrade. That's the same thing with Windows. You get to XP and it gets to end of life, it's over for you. So now, and Vista is soon come. It's coming because they trying to push everybody to 10. That's why they gave everybody 10 for free for a year. That's another indicator of how bad 8 was. Because it gave everybody the option to upgrade to Windows 10 for free for an entire year, which just ended, I think, in July. Any questions about that?
Um, I see a couple more questions I just want to address quickly.
Hmm.
Let's see. Are there prerequisites for Cisco and Microsoft certs? So as far as I know, they have their entry-level certs that are recommended to take before the second level and so on. They all each have their own, what's that word? Their own, I lost the word. Their own levels of certs.
Right,
But
because like the CCNA, and they have the CCENT or
yes,
ET.
yeah,
Right,
the
so
decent.
it's levels to their certifications. Just like you can become a Microsoft certified professional, which is like a specific certification, but it's not at the level of the MCSE because the MCSE you have to take multiple tests. Just like the CCNA, you got to take multiple tests. So you have to take like one level and then two more steps up to be able to actually be certified. But they have singular certifications, like the Cisco certified entry technician, I think it is. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
But they have different levels of certification leading to this those high level certifications.
Hmm. Yes, as far as Cisco, the CCNA is the popular one, but if you're talking about getting in on the ground level,
Right,
it
they
would be
have a
the
bunch.
CCENT first and then
Right,
CCNA. But there's no you can take either one first. It's just recommended you do.
because they'll take your money.
Yeah.
Like that's the bottom line. Like if you go
They won't
to
stop
a
you from
testing
taking.
site and say you know you went on their website, you paid for the voucher, and like A+ is the low end of the totem pole. Understand that the $200 per test for the A+ is the low end. Net Plus I think is like 315 or something, and then yeah, so these are not cheap tests. So it would behoove you to go in levels. If you don't, you ain't gonna just jump into the CCNA. You need to go with the CCENT first, and then you work your way up. And like I said, you get in with your A+ and your Net Plus into a job, and they will pay for all the certs you need.
And
You don't
train
want to,
you.
right? And you don't want to be the cert person who you just chasing around all these different certs because somebody tell you all these acronyms, and then you working in a job that yeah, we don't need the CCNA. We need you to have the Security Plus. You know what I mean? Like you get into a job and then according to that job, they'll tell you, well, it would be like they have the ITIL now, the ITIL Foundations,
Mhm.
which is another IT certification, and that's becoming really popular now with in IT, more like if you want to manage people in IT and things like that. So, but they'll let like in order to want to move and progress in this job, you come in as a help desk support or basic entry level L1, which at just your A+, and then you work your way up, and they're like, okay, she's getting better now. She's going for her Network Plus. Yeah, we'll pay for that. We'll pay for the Security Plus, and then depending on like a lot of government jobs require the Security Plus. A lot of government contracts, and some people be like CompTIA certifications. A lot of people try to make it seem like people are going away from the CompTIA certifications for the more vendor specific, but that's not true. It all depends on the job that you're doing and the company that you work for.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, domains and percentages. So, this tells you, so in the 220, 901, 34% of the test is going to be hardware. 21% of the test is going to be networking. 17% of the test is going to be mobile devices. And 28% of the test is going to be hardware and network troubleshooting. So you understand. That's why it's very important. If you don't have those copies of the actual objectives, you need to understand because those questions that they ask are straight from those objectives. The objectives say you know how to do da 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 da. The questions are going to be geared toward that. If you don't see it, even though being a PC technician might cover a whole bunch of other stuff. You know what I mean? That might not be specific to the objectives. But in order for you to pass this test, you need to understand what the objectives are. And each point underneath those objectives, because when you get questions wrong on the test, it'll give you a printout. And it'll say, these are the areas that where you miss questions. It's not going to tell you which questions. That's the thing. It don't tell you how much the weight of each question. It doesn't tell you like this question is worth this many points. It doesn't do that. It's just like you miss questions in this domain and this objective. And you'll see because I'll be showing you examples. When it comes to the 902, you see Windows operating systems is 29% of the test. Other operating systems is only 12%. Security is 22%, software troubleshooting is 24%, and operational procedures is 13%. So you get a gist of the chunk of 901 is hardware, and the chunk of 902 is understanding Windows. And another large chunk of both tests is troubleshooting.
And with the troubleshooting, all of these things, such as the operating system, the software, security, everything that we do, it all comes together. So they're not completely separate. Like you'll see as we go along.
Right.
They
They
all
build
work
on
with
each
each.
other.
Yeah.
They do. Because if you understand the troubleshooting steps, then you can apply them in different situations. And we'll get into all of that. You have to take and pass the two computer-based exams. You have to pass both. If you pass 901, and you don't pass 902, then you're not getting your certification. They're not gonna send you your little card in the mail or your little certificate. You have to pass both tests. Retake the exam every 3 years. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Make sure that you stay on top of continuing education. And continuing education is just taking other courses, you know what I mean, that give you CE credits towards the renewing of your certification. And also understand that if you attain higher level certifications, they automatically renew your lower level certifications. So if you take a Network Plus and pass it, it automatically renews your A Plus. And if you take the Security Plus, it automatically renews the Network Plus and the A Plus. But they have information on the website about the specifics in the hierarchy of the tests and things like that.
Tasha asked, how long do you have to wait to retake the test if you fail it?
When you're ready to pay the money again.
You could actually take it within days? Or is it
Yeah. Like, because when I took the test, I actually went through like a crash course, and there was like 16 people in the class. And out of 16 people, two people failed the 802. And then we all crammed the next day. I helped them cram the next day, and then they went back the next day and took it again and passed it.
Okay, that's great. How long in between can you wait? Like, say you take the 901 on Monday, and you got all types of things where you're out of town. Can you come back and take the 902 a week later?
Yeah, because you go on the Pearson VUE website and you schedule. They show you the different testing sites in your area, and you schedule both tests individually, just according to you and the availability of your testing site. So if some people want to schedule them back to back. I personally would leave myself some space in between because I want to be able to, if I don't pass the 901, to be able to take the 901 again before I take the 902. But maybe you feel like you're more in tune with the software, and the Windows stuff than you are with the actual remembering the hardware and all that. So you might want to take that 902, bust that out, and then go back to the 901. That's completely up to you. It's just we go to the website and you schedule the appointment, and we're going to go through all of that. The cost, that price is not right. It's like $199, I think. But most of the time, like they have vouchers. Like if you go to Professor Messer's website, he has a voucher. And it's a bunch of different places and websites that have discount vouchers. They be like 10% off or 20% off or some 15%. But if you think about it, it's $200. If I could get 10% off, that's $20 less. That works for me, right?
Yeah.
No one should pay full price for exams because everybody has some type of discount voucher out there somewhere. They all over the place. But you're going to have to pay either way. Obligate yourself. Set a date. That helps. It helps because it tells you how much, how much time. Like when we're starting to get towards finishing, then we need to start setting dates. So we know, like, we don't just end with the study and then everybody's just hanging in limbo. We schedule dates. We schedule dates around each other, and then we talk about it. Like, this person went and took their test today. What happened? You know, and then they come back and they say that you're not supposed to talk about the questions on the test. Like, you're not supposed to say exactly what questions are on the test or exactly what simulations are on the test. But it's very hard for me to believe that people just come back to their friends and be like, "Oh, it was nice. So what did you see?" I'm not at liberty to talk about that. Yeah, right. Like, that's just not the way it goes. Like, according to and they make you sign electronic documents saying that you won't discuss the actual questions and you won't discuss the simulations. But if you Google A+ simulations, you'll see pictures of all of them.
Excuse me, can I ask a question real quick?
Who is this? What is this?
This is Carrie, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Carrie, are you going to give us a copy of this slide?
It's in your book. This is just a generalization. Did you read the chapter?
Look.
You said what? I'm sorry.
I don't think I have a book.
So, since if you are, wait a second. Okay, if you look in the Facebook room, I uploaded a link to my Google Drive with the textbook we'll be using for this class. Since a few people were, so please let me know if the link works.
But Carrie, all of this is in the book, and we'll make sure that you have your electronic. We have an electronic copy of the book, not like the paper book, but the PDF version of the book. And these slides correspond to the chapters in the book. So this is all from chapter 1 in the book.
I also see another question here that I really want to tackle. It says, will we ever encounter a moment in our career where our certificates will not be enough education for the job or project we desire? So my answer to that is no. I've seen, how do I want to put this? I've seen people with certificates and no degree get jobs compared to the people with the degree and no certificates, because the certificate validates that you know what the job requires. Where, oh yes, black people. I'm black.
All right, let's be clear in this class. All right, pause on a side note. We don't talk about nobody but black people because we don't care about nobody but black people. I just want to let y'all know, in this class, like, I don't care what, as Peter would say, Betty Freckleback has in her repertoire. It really doesn't matter to me. Our whole focus is us. I know many, many black people with certifications balling out of control. My brother-in-law makes $75 an hour on 1099, so he doesn't even get taxes taken out of his check every 2 weeks. He makes $3,000 a week, no taxes taken out. They like, you deal with your taxes at the end of the year, and he's a network administrator.
And I will say that on top of the certifications, degree or no degree, when you come through ECHO, you're going to get a resume with 2 or more years of experience. It's 2. I know for myself, I put like 3 or 4, depending on what job, because as long as you had a reference and you and
somebody does it for you. And Peter, when it comes to getting references and somebody calling a reference for you, there is no better one than Peter Brown. I'm telling you. When they call him, you are a shoe-in.
And if they email him, I have an email of when he did for me. Like, they couldn't tell him anything. You're in the right place.
Right. And that's the core of what we want to do, because a lot of times people run into that wall. You have the certification, but you have no experience.
We got another question. Joseph
Yes.
asked, is it realistic to come out being straight independent because he can't work for nobody?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You get your tax ID, do some ads on Craigslist, get your little logo, your business cards. I'm telling you. People do it while they in class. I told you, homie dropped out of the class. We ain't never see him no more. When we gave him, we gave him the tools to do the speed up and clean up tools. We ain't see him no more. He won the contest and he won the enclosure. And all you saw was him posting pictures of 10, 12 laptops stacked up on top of his desk. And then you saw him posting his business card. And then you saw him posting you know, he did this ABC and he started his business and he has a company and then he got an office. You don't have to work for nobody but you. And then you grow your company and then you able to secure a contract doing whatever. You in there. So it's definitely not just structured towards getting a job working for somebody else, because you know Peter Brown is very much, yeah, work for yourself.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, I feel like that's our focus. Like those people who have, you know, criminal records that stop them from being able to get a job. Those are the people we targeting. If you can fix this computer, he don't care. If you can fix that computer, look, it's broke. You know how to fix it? All right, fix it. And you know how to network and you know how to talk to people. You're going to make money and you can grow your business. Now, set aside time to study and follow a strategy for study depending on whether you are experienced or a newbie. If you're a newbie, then if you're not, quote unquote, if you are unfamiliar with the majority of technical terms and I think there's a slide later on that talks about like the basic stuff that you want to understand and know, then you have to do study outside of this class. YouTube videos, Professor Messer, MESSER.com. He has a full video series of 901 and 902 from beginning to end for free. You can watch on his website. Cybrary is another website. They have a full set of videos. Like, that's another area of money. Like, you create videos talking about a specific tech topic and then you put it on YouTube and then YouTube pays you for clicks. Because I'm going to teach y'all a couple of different strategies about certain parts of this test that I said that I'm going to start recording some YouTube videos and just put it out there. Because they don't charge you. Say again?
I might just, yeah, YouTube might be all I do. I get my search and go YouTube. I'm already kind of popular.
That's how it is. Because you research on YouTube how many videos are certification videos. People want help. They want help. And a lot of people learn from watching videos. Or you may be able to explain things a certain way that other people can't. Just like I know that I have that knack. My analytical thinking skills give me the ability to simplify a lot of parts of this test that people are like, what the heck are they talking about? And I'm able to explain it in a different way so that you understand and use analogies and examples, real life stuff, so that you can understand what they're talking about. And it makes it easier for you to grasp the information and then pass the test. Questions? All right. Okay, so the chapters are broken into distinct parts, the historical / conceptual. These topics are not on the exams, but they're ones that will help you understand more clearly what is on the exam. So just background, historical, and conceptual information. 901, topics that are under the A plus 220 901 exam. 902, topics that are under the 902 exam domains, and then beyond A plus is more advanced issues that are probably not on the test yet, but they discuss it in these chapters. So the historical and conceptual stuff is about understanding computer terms and concepts. So you need to be able to ensure that you're proficient at a user level for Windows. So recognizing parts of a standard Windows desktop, manipulating Windows, creating, deleting, renaming, moving files, copying files and folders, understanding file extensions. Is there anybody in here that doesn't know what a file extension is? You got to say it because I can't see anything. I can't see anybody typing. I can't see anything like that.
I don't understand what that is.
Okay.
No.
File extensions are the part of the file name that's after the period that tells you what kind of file it is. For example, Microsoft Word files extension would be .doc, or now it's .docx for the newer versions of Windows. For PDF files, you know, the Adobe files, it's .pdf. Regular text file would be a .txt. A lot of program setup files are what they call execution files. So they would be .exe. File extensions tell you what kind of file you're dealing with. And then common keyboard shortcuts, they'll show you a lot of different things about, because a lot of times people do things in Windows a specific way every time, right? Like people, when they want to lock their computer, if you're used to working in a business environment, then you Control-Alt-Delete, right? And then you click lock this computer.
Oh, there's
on the
a
screen.
faster way now.
Right, but you can just press the Windows key and L, which is locking the computer. Hold down the Windows key, press L, locks the computer. So it gets into a lot of the common keyboard shortcuts. And then, of course, how to install, run, and close Windows applications. We talked about the fact that we're going to get into installing different versions of Windows, but also you need to be able to understand how to run and install different applications, right? If a person wants Microsoft Office on their computer, or a person has zip files but doesn't understand that they need to have some type of archive retrieval software, which is WinZip or WinRAR or 7-Zip, which is the popular one that we use now. So you need to know how to install it, run it, close it, things like that. And all of that is part of the historical and conceptual stuff that you learn about being proficient at the user level, because you need to be proficient at the user level to understand when these people call you and they're like, ABC is happening, right? If you don't know how to open a file, how you going to tell them how to open a file? Right? And then they want to move a file from one place to another on a computer, which is something basic. But if they don't know, if you don't know, you're not going to be able to walk them through it and explain it to them. So you have to have understanding on the conceptual level of the user level Windows skills. And then, of course, you get the tech level, which is what you're training to be, which is, you know, different other aspects of using Windows. But these are like the basic user level Windows skills.
And another thing, I just saw a question come up. Will we take sample tests? So at the end of So at the end of each chapter, there are practice questions that.
But that's not the test I'm gonna be getting.
Oh yeah, no. And then there's also the testing application. I believe it was called Player. And then we do have sample tests that you can run on your computers and customize it to how many questions, how long, to actually simulate the actual.
Yep. They have simulations and all.
We currently have the 800 series test.
Oh no.
But we need those new ones.
We got some new ones. We got
new ones?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I need to see
You know
those.
I'm always finding stuff. Yeah. So we're definitely gonna be. I'm telling you, I'm gonna throw so many questions in your face. You're gonna be like, all right, Monique. All right, can I just go take the test so you can leave me alone? Cause I'm tired of looking at questions. Because that's how you get to understand. First of all, you need to understand that they'll ask you the same question 5 different ways. And if you understand exactly what they're asking for and the way that they're presenting it and understanding how to read the question to decipher exactly what they want and exactly what they don't want, and the only way to do that is to see as many questions as you can before you take the test. And trust me, you will. Oh,
Oh,
that's the end.
Soraya, what is the Facebook name that needs to be added to the group so that I can find you?
I added her to the main group. You have another smaller group? I added her to Echo Plan IT.
What's that?
Okay. Well,
Oh, that's the old group. Every
yeah.
class has a new group.
Yeah, what's the new group name? Because I don't know either.
Oh, yeah, so then you need to be added to that one, the Nyeusi Tech, what is it? I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah,
Don't blame me.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Okay. Nyeusi Information Technologists. I'll
Right.
go ahead and add you now.
PowerPoint chapter 2. Okay, so I need to be able to. So, does anybody have any questions in regards to chapter? Let me stop sharing my screen 1 second. Oh, stop.
All right,
Okay.
you should be added to the group.
Anybody have any questions about what we talked about so far?
Yeah, this is Terry. I'd like to know if the man that you said took the class and didn't finish it, did he, by any chance, did he take the certification? Did he pay for the test?
I don't know, because I never saw him after he left in the middle of the class, so I don't know. I really don't.
Just wondering.
But that's the thing, like, that's why we need okay, I need to stress for you, like, I'm not saying that the certification is required for you to get a job, right? Because I got a job without it. I had the information, but I hadn't taken a test. And I got the job teaching, and I told you I was making $50 an hour. And then, the person who hired me got a promotion, and the new person came in and was like, yeah, how you doing, Monique? I just need a copy of those certs. And I was like, yeah, about that. I don't have those. And then, that was the end of that. Because she was the person who was stressing the actual paper, right? Whereas the person who hired me was like, can you teach it? Yeah, we established a rapport through the interview, and he was like, okay, you're hired. And I was.
And also, when you don't have the certification, I still need to get mine, and, the company's going to pay for it. But when I was interviewing a few times and they saw that I was a trainer for the certification without the certification, even though I did it, they still questioned me. And I'm usually good of talking my way through anything, but some employers just won't if you don't have the cert. So it's good to have, and even better if you can find someone who will pay for you to take it. But get it, because it'll make things easier for you.
Right. Like, you don't want to be in a position where they ask you for it and you don't have it. If you take this class and you get all the information, first of all, don't take this class and sit on the information for 6 months, because you just making it harder for yourself. You need to take the test when it's fresh. It just makes more sense that way. So we should be figuring it out over this next couple of months, how we getting that $400 together, or $350 or whatever it's going to be with the discount vouchers, for you to be able to take those tests. Because we don't want it to be a situation where you don't have it and you they ask you for it, and because that was me. That was
Yeah,
me.
yeah, 'cause they I didn't know this, but they do check, like with each certification, you get your special ID number and everything that you have to put down on the form, so they can look you up and
Oh yeah.
make sure you're legit. So it's not even you can just say, yeah, I have it, and they'll never check to make sure that you do
Like you
have it.
can't, yeah, like back in, like people have done stuff like got fake degrees and stuff like that, and just to get a job. When it comes to certifications, they're like, "What's your cert number?" And they'll go right to the CompTIA website and look you up because everybody who's passed, they can look you up by your cert number. So, but we don't even have to go that route because we're gonna pass the test,
Yeah.
right, people? So, I feel like I always want to be in this space where we are able to read the chapter before we go into, like that class,
Right.
so that you'll have the information. Because the next one is the operational procedures, and it's about presenting yourself in the proper appearance, which we don't really have to go deep into that. Like, this is not high
Yeah,
school. Y'all know how you need to present yourself, and talking to customers in a professional, productive manner, and discussing the tools of the trade.
yeah, usually well, in the last book, that was towards the very end.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
And
the
we
thing. It
wouldn't even
just
cover that.
depends on,
Yeah.
like, I'ma just like to scroll through the slides.
Yeah, your screen's off.
Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Back here. Okay. So I know,
So we're
like
stuck with forward in this book, okay?
near the end of the chapter, they talk about stuff like ESD and all that, and we'll get into that. Proper dress, attention to good hygiene. Like, we don't gotta tell you that. Like, ain't nobody going to the interview stinking. So this is casual forward, right? And this is professional forward. So for techs, professional to them is a polo and khakis.
All right. So this is where I'm gonna jump in real quick.
Right.
So it really depends.
Or where you
Now,
work.
if you're at Google, Netflix, or any of those like hot companies, then casual forward is the way to go. But anywhere else,
Right.
in fact, in my department, we just had a conference call about the dress code and how we're supposed to represent ourselves to the building.
Right.
Dress shirt and pants, nice shoes. That's
Oh.
it.
Oh wow. Yeah, HP doesn't have a dress code, so we got a white dude in there with a beard that's like all down to the middle of his chest in a point, and it's people with purple
Jimmy
hair
Neutron.
and yeah. So it depends on where you work. Like I never understood, especially in a call center / help desk environment where you never see the customer, why it makes a difference. But like I said, it depends on what company you work for.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand going in, the interview, what did you figure out what the dress code is, and they usually tell you the culture of the actual company.
Yeah, and then even like so where I'm at, we have 2 IT departments, and you can tell just by looking at the different people which department they're coming from, because we have the award for best dress. So when we're walking down the hallway, we're client services. And then everybody notices that when you're like walking through and you're servicing their computers, because usually people talk. So if they see you, they see something they like or don't like, it'll get back to you or your manager or anybody.
And then let's throw this caveat out there. A lot of times, they, meaning white people, could do stuff that we can't do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it might not be written that way, But this dude that's sitting next to me that got the skull rings on his hands and he got the piercing through his face and all of that. He
Oh,
here
you
right
got one
here
of
next to
those.
me, but you not gonna do that. Like I would hope. Like you would want to be, like and we not gonna even fake like we're not judged differently. We know that we are. Like and so yeah, argument can never be well. Billy is ABC. I've been in that place where I sued an employer for racial discrimination and won $50,000.
You know what? I was just about to say the same thing. When I worked for Amtrak, what I was taught was always take written notes and times of what you saw, and you always going to win.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what I did. This boss kept saying stuff. He kept saying stuff to me and certain things, and I was like, what is going on? But I kept such a meticulous record that when it went down and they laid me off, I was like, oh, no. And it was on from there. It took 2 years to get my 50 Gs, but I got it. But anyway, so as much as they tell you casual, you know what I'm saying? Your casual should always be professional casual, if you get what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, I right now they don't have a dress code, but most days I'm in business casual. Even though we have no dress code at all, I'm in business casual. Fridays I might wear like a dashiki and some jeans and some sneakers on Fridays. But other than that, most days I'm in slacks and a shirt.
I hear you.
Even though we don't have a dress code, I'm not. You'll never have that to talk about me every day.
Pam said on one particular job they actually called her buckwheat.
Oh wow. Whoa. See that kind of stuff? Never. Woo. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that was happening to me at that job, and I got to a point where I was just like, oh no. I went to the EEOC, and then like a few months after that, I was unemployed. I was like, oh no.
I'm unlucky.
I'm
I'm very unlucky. I can't get anybody to talk to me that way. I'm 6'2". They don't talk to me like that.
I guess that's a good thing.
I got a couple of friends who sued Amtrak, but nobody there, none of those guys talk to me that way.
Yeah, that's just like being a woman is different, especially in technology. Like you're gonna run into this situation where a lot of times they try to push women towards management to keep them out of the tech hands-on type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's a big, women are a very small number of the technology field, but we working to change that. So appearance, we went there. Honesty and integrity. Honesty is telling the truth. Integrity means doing the right thing. We don't need to get into that, right? Just all I'm saying is whatever you do at work, CYA. Because I don't trust nobody. I don't care who it is. Because being good at what you do, for me, I've learned over my years, being good at what you do puts the bullseye on your back. Because the people, the slackers who don't want to do shit, excuse my language, they'll be quick to try to find something that you're doing wrong. Even though you're on point and the manager's always talking about Monique's doing this and da 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 and da 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 da, and they're mad because now that makes them look like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So now they're trying to find a reason to cause a problem for you. So when it boils down to, my favorite line is, I got 6 kids. I ain't doing nothing for nobody. We got, in the job I'm in now, people are always logging somebody else out. You do know that's payroll fraud, right? Okay. Don't ask me, because I'm not doing it. And my favorite line is, 6 kids. I ain't losing my check for nobody. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Don't do any favors for anybody. You document everything that you do. Like, even if it's as simple as, hey, someone asked for a keyboard. I ain't giving you no keyboard without writing it down or documenting that I did that. Like the smallest things, because I've had, it's weird. Like people, just cover yourself.
Right, that's it. From the biggest to the small. Like me, when it comes to documentation, they'll be mad at me because I'll be like, "Oh, you need me to get a part recommendation from Raleigh? Okay, well then I'm putting his name in the case. As per Raleigh, I'm recommending this part. Don't tell me if you don't want your name to wind up in the notes. I'm just letting you know, cause that's just I need to cover me. Monique, why did you recommend that part? Cause he told me to. He been here. Y'all told me to go to him to find out what the best part is. I went to him, and he said, based on his determination, it should be this. So that's what I'm putting in the case.
Mhm. And
Always cover yourself.
I always copy the supervisor or manager on emails going out so that no one can say that I said something in a message that I did not say. There's multiple copies going everywhere every time I communicate with somebody. So,
Just like if you have a conversation with somebody. I'm quick to follow up with an email. As per the conversation we had in the hallway today, you said A, B, C, D, and this is how we're going to follow up because somebody will be quick to turn around and say, what? I never said that. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, right here, I sent you the email, and you read it because I asked for a red receipt. But understanding there's a difference between the customer and the in-house user, and being in the help desk situation, there's going to be times where we deal with the outside customer, right? And then we also deal with doing help desk for the people that work with us or the people that work in the building. So it's different standards that apply to what's being done for an in-house person versus what's being done for a customer, right? So it's very much like a lot of stuff when you deal with customers, you might see customers do something that they ain't got no business doing. I'm not doing nothing wrong. Me, I'm not, and it ain't my, you know what I mean? Like, if it ain't a felony, I don't know nothing. This is what happened. This is where I went. This is what I did, and this is how I documented what happened. Well, Monique, you should just. Oh no, I'm writing everything down right here, and that's it. A lot of times, being a tech gives you privilege to a lot of people's information, right? So you never look at files that are not pertinent to what you're doing right then and there, and that's it. Because then you can't be held accountable. Because believe every click, every opening, everything is recorded somewhere. I have people that call in. Well, we don't know why the server went down, Monique. And then I go to their logs, and it's like on October 13th at 13:59, user such and such pressed the virtual reset button on the server. That's why the network went down. And they're like, oh, okay. It's like people think, you click around and you do other things in the space, and you think that it's not seen, and everything is seen somehow or another. So a user's personal files, a lot of times is more so just copying over. If you have to re-image their computer, dumping that stuff off to an external drive so that you'll be able to put it back where it was. That's the gist of it. We have no reason to learn anybody's password. Right? If they're there, have them put it in. If they need to give it to you for like multiple reboots or whatever, you tell them to change it before you leave. The ethic of reciprocity. Hold on for a second. Let me get back to. You have the book open, DeMonte?
I don't, but I can open it. Let me get that. I hope this thing
But the
has,
ethic of reciprocity is basically do unto others what you want them to do to you. And don't touch user stuff without permission. Man, and that's from the biggest to the smallest thing. Like if you move their keyboard or readjust their monitor, that's not what you want to do. You know, like when you go to their workstation leave things the way you found it. Or you ask their permission. Is it okay for me to, move this chair out the way because I need a higher chair, or move your chair, or adjust such and such so that I can work, and then put it back the way it was when you got there. You know how you feel, and you let somebody drive your car, and then you get back in there, and all your mirrors is crazy, and you don't know what's what, and your seat is all the way, your chin is on the steering wheel because they pushed the seat all the way up, and you understand how you feel in that type of situation. It's the same thing. As help desk, you come in, you're not supposed to be disturbing their situation. You come in, you fix what you got to fix with the minimal disturbance to them in their space, and then that's it. DeMonte, let me know when you find that. So
I got it.
So what's their exact words in the book with regard to that?
Exactly what you said. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
In the text life, this translates as treat people's things as you would have other people treat yours. Don't use or touch anything without asking first.
Yep. Any questions so far? This is basic stuff, so it's not. We ain't even get into the tech stuff yet. But
the tech stuff is about Thursday, I believe.
Right. Dependability and responsibility.
Oh wait, is that your Adobe Reader?
That's what you see?
Yeah, the closed program. It stopped working. On your screen, or is that me?
Let me see, because I had the PowerPoint up, unless I'm not. Oh, wait, that is mine.
Oh.
Is that what y'all see? Do you see the presentation now?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, and when I go full screen, do you see the full screen presentation?
Yep.
Okay. Responsible person is answerable for the acts he or she does. A dependable person can be counted on to perform those acts. We want to be that in the workspace, right? Not to the point where you picking cotton, but you get it. Don't let them take advantage to the point where they're using you, but you want to be you want to be dependable, but you also want to have good work-life balance. A lot of people, especially in the tech industry, like a lot of times, like if you're the network administrator and something goes off with the temperature or whatever, they calling you in the middle of the night. That's why they give you a phone and a laptop and all of that, and you can't not answer depending on what your job is. If you're on call, you need to go, no matter where you are. So
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Pam. I was trying to test my mic. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, in the technology field, there are a lot of times that you, as a person that might be on call, are the person that they're going to call in the middle of the night if something goes wrong, and you need to be dependable in that. Take responsibility for your actions. Make sure there's a dependable backup of any system before you start to work. Do not ever start working on anybody's system without either you putting your eyes on their backup or you creating one yourself before you start work. There are many, many horror stories about people who do things, and I have an example. When I trained the Geek Squad and the girl did a system restore on the lady's computer, first of all, the level 1 techs are supposed to do 23 things. If it's not one of those 23 things, don't do it. But she felt, I did a system restore on my mama computer before, so, I know how to do it. I'm going to help this customer out. Little did she know that a backup hadn't been taken in 2 years. So the customer who went through infertility for 7 years, finally had twins, lost all pictures, baby's first birthday, all the sonogram pictures, everything. And Best Buy wound up, no, she's not. And Best Buy wound up paying her $17,000 they would have paid me way more because you can't even put a price on those type of memories that you can't ever get back because somebody didn't do a backup or somebody didn't follow the process that you're supposed to follow when you work on somebody's computer. And depending on where you work, processes are different. 99.9% of the time, it's going to say, make sure there's a backup before you start. Backups. Very, very, very important. When you making changes, you know, like you might just be doing an update to your own computer or installing a software, and it might have a serious negative effect on your system. You need to have a good backup to go to.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut. I see
Okay.
the question. How about if a computer won't boot? How do you back up? So this is where it's really nice to have a hard drive reader, because even if the computer won't turn on, if you can take that hard drive out and set it up with another hard drive and just copy everything over one time,
Right.
or take the most important stuff and put it on a flash drive.
Yep.
Need those data transfer devices. Those are lifesavers.
And they make you a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times people feel like because they don't see data that it's gone, and it's not. And we'll talk about that too.
I'll look up some drive readers. In fact, we'll post them in the room, but they're not too expensive.
Adaptability and versatility. User advocate. A tech only fixes computers. A user advocate supports his or her users. And like they look at you like, you know, you're the person that can help me. You know what I mean? So it's all about. And then when it comes to being technically and situationally adaptable, flexibility and adaptability is huge, right? Because you deal with different systems. You might have a regimented way of the way you do things, but you encounter this system that's not gonna work in this situation. You know what I mean? So you and being an advocate, like and understanding that it's important to educate the people that you help so that they don't run into the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times people just go in. You ever seen you did a remote session with somebody and they just took over and took the mouse, click, yeah, go, okay, it's fixed. Right? I don't even know what happened. And they feel like, you know, you're not really helping them. It's not just about fixing the problem. We need to be able for them to understand exactly what happened so that they don't run into this problem again. Because 9 times out of 10 times, if they broke it, they not gonna tell you they broke it, and they not gonna tell you how they broke it. Like the man not gonna tell you he went to bootyshake.com and got a virus. He not gonna tell you that. But once you get into his computer and get into his history and you see all of this history, then you know that's his business, you know. But you give them, sir, you might need, you know, to update your virus protection and your spyware and be careful and sensitive to downloading things from different websites. Educate them so they know. But then the reality of the situation is that's why you have a job, because you educate people and they go back and do the same thing again. And it's all slow and sluggish again because they done downloaded all this extra stuff and then you go in and clean it again. So that's why you set up contracts so you get the money up front. And when you have 3 visits for the year gonna go by and they ain't be done not called you. Now you gotta pay for 3 more visits for the next year. But they feel that confidence in knowing if they have a problem they can call you. But we'll get into all that. Sensitivity. Be empathetic to your customers' needs and expectations, right? Like we have people that call us like, fix it, Monique. Fix it because my boss is on my ass and he's telling me You don't know what pressure that person is under. You don't know how bad they messed up whatever they did. You know what I mean? So we need to be empathetic to all of these situations and understanding the urgency that some of them, you know, might have or the worry that might be on their faces when they feel like they've lost all their data, but they really didn't, or even if they did, you know, like educating them on how to avoid that happening and things like that. Like, a lot of times we see situations where it's the user's fault. You know what I mean? But you don't want to really be like, listen, stupid, don't do that, stupid. Like, we can't do that, right? We have to be empathetic to the situation. Avoid personal phone calls and other distractions. You don't want to be that tech. Hold up, hold up, hold up. They pinging me on Instagram. You don't want to be that person. Somebody just tagged me on this picture. No, that's not the tech that you want to be. Be culturally sensitive.
I don't even know if I want to get into that one or not.
Yes, you do. Go
Cause
ahead.
I do. So being a black technician, you're in a really special place because they whether they like it or not, they're going to need you, whether they want to or not. And just a few weeks ago, I was walking into work, just being polite. I see this woman in the reflection of the door that I'm walking into the building. So I'm like, fine, I hold the door open and stuff. Good morning, all that, go about my business. Now, if I have a badge and I get past security guards and they greet me, say hello, I obviously belong there. So the fact that the IT department is in the dungeon of the basement, okay, so I'm going down and this woman's supposed to be going up about 6 floors, but follows me off the elevator going down all the way to my department to then ask, what am I doing here?
Oh, wow.
Lady, I work here. I get paid to help you. Of course, I didn't even get all rude and stuff with her, but it is a all black IT department. So really? that's all really?
Yeah.
So that's where the thing was, don't do no favors for nobody, document, especially with her, because apparently she had a thing of following black men around the office, trying to figure out what they were doing there, profiling. It's a majority black building. You're the more suspicious one, but that's just me. I just want to say, be culturally sensitive.
Take those notes. Take those notes.
And there's a lot of like I had a man call me yesterday and we were talking and he was like, "Are you in America?" And I was like, I laughed and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I really didn't mean it like that, but you know what I mean." And you really want but I've had customers like, "And don't transfer me to an Indian." Like, it goes that deep in the tech world. Like, it's a lot of companies and a lot of customers that are adamant about onshore support is what they call it, as opposed to offshore support. And as much as sometimes you might feel like you want to punch a person in the face, but we understand we all in different cultures, and that's just the way it is. But I mean, don't let nobody punk you. But I'm saying, nah. But you know what I mean.
What's your name? What's your last name? Where you don't like? Do you not just have a badge that says all of this?
Right. Like, excuse me.
What's your name? Didn't even identify herself. Like, get out of here.
Where's your badge? What are you asking me questions? I need to be asking you a couple of questions. But like, people look at me like I'm crazy when I beep my badge and they try to come in behind me. Oh, whoa, buddy, use your own badge. Thank you. Don't be looking at me like I'm wrong because I'm following the rules. Using appropriate titles depends, right? It depends on where you work, right? Like, some people want to be addressed a certain way. Some people might want you to call them by their first name. Some people might want you to call them Dr. So-and-so. You know, some people with doctorates get on it. Like, I need to be called Dr. Smith. Thank you very much. But you're a doctor of, like, basket weaving, not yours. But, you know, this is what happened. So, no, that's not for you. So, yeah, sensitivity. And then paperwork, right? A lot of times, they might have paperwork that they issue to you to be signed. Document. We all know that story, right? Document everything. If there's certain things we need to get from the customer to be able to perform the work, make sure you do that. And then we copy. Everything. Document. So, effective communication. So, assertive communication is because if you let them, a customer will run over your back and try to control the conversation and control how you handle things. So, we avoid you statements, right? So it's like, can you tell me what happened? You don't want to say, so what did you do before you got the blue screen of death, right? Like making it accusatory of the person as opposed to, were you working in a specific application before this happened, right? Like what actions were you performing before this happened, and making sure that it's about what happened as opposed to what they did. And like I said, state what is needed to avoid the problem in the future. Education. Education is a huge part of being a tech. A lot of times people don't know. And if you go out and fix their computer, if it's something that they can do on their own, give them that information. Because you probably need to be somewhere else doing something else. Everybody good with that? Any questions? I haven't said like any questions in quite a few slides.
I saw one question a while ago. It was asking about the salary range of an A+ technician.
Entry level.
Entry level. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say. Oh no.
Go ahead, Demonte. It's okay.
Oh, I was saying I want to say that it will vary by region. East Coast and further north, you're looking in the early to mid 40s entry level. As far as high 50s. Well, by that time you're like tier mid level or high level. Now you're in the South. I've seen the same jobs down in Texas in the mid 30s, mid to high 30s, because the cost of living is lower.
Yep.
California, I don't know what they're doing out there. They're not paying you enough to live there no matter what you do, unless you're a movie star or some sort of high profile lawyer, so forget it.
I know that's right.
Right.
So between the high 30s and mid 50s, mid 40s is what you're looking at.
So from like say the East Coast, you mean from like Florida up?
Well, no, because for more like mid to northeast, because the South, the cost of living is way different than it is from, like, if you working in New York, Massachusetts, things like that, it's going to be a different range. It's different from the D.C. area, which is like middle. And then that's even higher than down here where I am in the Atlanta area. So it depends. And it also depends, like sometimes you can get a telecommuting job in one place and then move to the place that has the less cost of living, and then you're really balling out of control.
And stack all that money up.
That's exactly what I want to do.
Right. So
I got family in Miami. I'd rather go down there.
Yeah.
difference between Baltimore and DC, actually the entire DMV area, you're looking at 45 starting, and that's with the cert.
That's with A plus, right? So
Right.
if you have the A plus and the N plus, what are you looking at then? I'm sorry making this all about money, but what is that?
Oh, no, Nat Plus, not entirely sure, but that
It'll
is
get you in
worth
the
it.
50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And then when you have all three, and then, but see, this is the thing, you don't want to be just the cert person, because you can have all three and don't know nothing.
You want the
You can have
experience too.
all three and haven't worked in the field. You can't command a whole bunch of money just because you took some tests. And you can't prove that you've actually worked on a computer in your life. Unless
Okay, so if you take the simulation, if you do it the right way, and you're not just a cert guy, but you actually know what it is, you can't demand more?
It's still not the same as actually doing it. It's not.
Okay.
Like the paper and the books and everything can give you every scenario, but when you out there, it's different because every system is different. Networks are set up differently. They have different threats. They have different devices. It's old dinosaur computers out there. You know, it's some companies, like smaller companies, that have computers that they don't want to let go because they have some type of proprietary software that if they upgrade, it'll cause a disruption in what they do, right? And so it all depends. But you can't. You could go into a job and say you got through, because understand, a technical interview is totally different than the regular everyday interviews that you've done. So outside of asking regular interview questions, they're asking technical specific informational questions, and then they're giving you situational questions.
Okay.
So it's a combination of all. It's not like you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you've never done it, it'll show some kind of way.
When you have certain certs and you go to a job, do they ever do any additional training in that field, or is like if you don't know it, you're through?
Most jobs train you when you first get there. They're going to train because you have to, even if you have experience, you have to have experience specific to what they do. Yeah, everything is different. So you can have experience doing ABC or fixing computers or whatever, but at this company, they do things this kind of way. Just like you could have had a help desk job before, but in this company, these are the ticket submission systems that they use, and these are the programs they use to remote into computers, and so they all have a training period.
Yeah, they will train you how to use their system.
Training period was 8 weeks.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Right. So it's usually not just you interview, they ask you if you know, and then you just jumping in and doing. Nah, they got at least some training period. Okay. Respectful communication. I'm like, this is really stuff that we really probably don't really need to spend a lot of time on, right? But you respect the person, right? Their job and them as a person. Ask for permission to begin work. Actively listening to a customer's problem. One of the biggest things that they hate is being interrupted. Because if you're interrupting, then you're not really listening to what I'm saying. You're just waiting to respond to you, waiting for you to be able to say what you want to say. So actively listening will get you a lot of information, and it'll let you know exactly where you need to start from. And sometimes customers get angry. Customers curse. I've been called the N-word. I don't take things personally. But what you're not going to do. Like when people start to get to that point, I'm just like, all right, sir, I'm here to help you. And you getting mad is not helping either one of us. I understand your frustration. You know what I mean? I've gotten to the point where I just put the phone down and let them yell. And then they realize that they're yelling at themselves, and then I pick up the phone. But different jobs have different procedures. Some places feel like you can't, like they don't want you to ever do that. Or some places are like, if they curse at you, you can end the call. It depends on where you work. And avoid outside interruptions on customer time. That's a given. You there to do a job, do your job. Deal with if it's an emergency, you need to step out, make a phone call, whatever, but don't do it in their space, because for them, then you're wasting their time. They pay your company or you directly to do this, so you shouldn't be taken away from their time to do anything personal. We all know the examples of respectful communication. We got it. Eliciting answers. Remember when I said, don't say, what did you do? Instead, when did it last work? Or has it worked in the past? Because we're there to help. Regardless if you know they did it, but you can't say it. And ask fact-seeking questions. A lot of times I tell people, open-ended questions. Most of the closed-ended questions don't really get you to where you need to be, right? So, does the computer turn on? That's a yes or no question. But that might be one of the main yes or no questions you ask, right? Do you have power? Because if it's not turning on, then that's one issue. If it turns on but it doesn't go past post, that's another issue. If it goes past post but it doesn't boot into the OS, that's a totally different issue. So that's why it's about understanding what questions to ask so that you can get the information that you need. And explaining what you're doing, and Peter does this a lot, and you will see in his classes, he'll use acronyms because he's so familiar with them, and he assumes that we already know. But when you're dealing with customers, we can't assume people know. And especially like a lot of technical jargon, and most of that stuff goes over the people's heads that you're helping. Acronyms, abbreviations, be as clear as possible, and always approach a situation like this person is not technical at all. So it needs to be simplified so that they can understand. Then again, it depends on who you're talking to. Me and my job at HP, I deal with all the network administrators, virtualization engineers. So I can't talk to them like they slow, because they be like, do you even know what you're doing? It all depends on your customer, right? But you also don't want to use like jargon that's specific to your company or something like that when speaking to a customer, because they don't know. And like use analogies and visual aids when possible to be able to show people exactly what you mean. And sometimes they don't get it from the computer perspective, so you can use an analogy that'll, show them exactly what you mean, but not literal. And stay friendly, of course. Even though sometimes they drive you crazy and you want to get angry, we can't. Always stay friendly. Any questions? Keep it friendly. And expectations and follow-up, especially in a situation where you working for yourself, right? And even if you're working for a company and you go in as the help desk person or as the tech to fix a problem, give these people an estimate of how long, like especially if you need to take their network down, they need to know an estimate of how long the network's going to be down and how long. Say again? Hello?
No, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Give them a best estimate. We don't give guarantees, right? Because we don't know when you going into fixing this problem, you don't know what mistakes might happen. So an estimate of, based on my experience, this should take approximately blah, 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 right? And if you have to estimate, if you think that it's going to change, you let them know, right? Like a lot of times when depending on what you're fixing, they've taken a maintenance window and taken the system out of production for this specific window of time for you to be able to fix it. So if you're going to go outside of their service window or outside of their maintenance window, then you need to let them know that as soon as possible so that they can prepare for that. And options, a lot of times, especially when we work for ourselves, like if we're about the dollar, then we're trying to sell people the most expensive option. But you got to know your customer, right? And companies are the same way. Like, it depends on what the situation is. Some people are focused on being the most cost effective. Some people are, I don't care how much it costs, just give me the best one you got so I don't have a problem, right? So we need to be able to offer them options and alternatives when it comes to the work that we do for them and the costs involved. Documentation, document. We don't got to review that no more, right, y'all? And then follow up, like confirm that the issue has been resolved and that the person is satisfied with what happened before you close the ticket out, right? Because you could go fix the problem today and then you like everything is working, you walk away, and then something happens overnight or the next day. So you follow up with the customer to make sure that they're happy and that things are running the way they're supposed to before you move on, or just to confirm that they're okay. Any questions? DeMonte?
Yes, I'm here.
What time is it?
It is 10:13.
Oh, ooh, dang, we close to the 2 hours. Electrostatic discharge is the passage of static electrical charge into your PC or a PC component, such as a RAM stick. We'll talk about what a RAM stick is. DIMM's, random access memory. Static electricity can destroy sensitive parts of a PC, and that's very true. Like, you know how, like, you can drag your feet across the carpet and feel shock, and it's not causing a problem to you. But that little bit of electrostatic discharge can fry a memory DIMM or a motherboard.
Yep.
So, a lot of things when it comes to, and everybody should be reading this chapter, even though you guys will shoot for reading the next chapter for the next class, but you need to read in detail about ESD, and the ESD happens more in dry, cool environments. So that's why in certain technology environments, humidifiers are important, because the level of humidity affects the amount of electrostatic discharge possibility.
Yeah, and that's one question that comes up a lot I've seen in practice tests.
Yep.
Is what type of environment this takes place in. A dry, cool environment. Oh, and it won't matter where you are. Every IT department, 8 times out of 10, is going to be freezing. So you're going to want to take a hoodie to work with you or some type of sweater.
Oh, yeah, because they got to keep the machines cool.
Mm-hmm.
Especially don't work in a data center. Oh, Lord. The fans and every noise from the fans, and it's freezing like
Christmas all year round.
Like you work at a meat market and you're in the freezer. Like, that's how it feels, because they have to keep all of that high-level equipment cool. But when we talk about from a tech perspective at ESD, the smallest, the slightest electrostatic discharge can fry components of your computer. And that's why a lot of times you want to discharge the static in your body. So touching a metal part of the chassis discharges that. And wearing, so causes of ESD: 2 objects with different potentials of static electricity come in contact with each other. Namely, you and your body, or you and the carpet, and then you touch the PC, things like that, right? So they have anti-static wrist straps that you're supposed to wear, that you clip to the case of the PC to prevent ESD. And they have anti-static mats that equipment can be placed on. They have anti-static mats that can be placed on the floor for you to stand on. All of that is to avoid ESD causing problems with your computer components. And the anti-static devices have resistors, which minimizes the occurrence of ESD. And this is a picture of the anti-static wrist strap that you clip to the case when you're working on it. You may see people that don't do it, but best practice is the anti-static strap. And then this is the mat and the strap. And then if you've ever seen computer components or ordered something apart and it comes in these metallic looking bags, those are anti-static bags. And they're specially designed to shed the static electricity. And they should be used to store the components of your PC. And what you don't want to do is take it out of the bag and sit it on top of the bag. Totally defeating the purpose. The inside of the bag is the anti-static portion. Always unplug a PC. That seems like common sense, right? But you want to unplug it from the wall, not just turn it off, because it's still pulling power if it's not unplugged. Also, even after you unplug it, sometimes you want to just if you were to open the case of a computer, right, and press the power button after you've unplugged it from the wall, you'll see the fan spin a little bit when you press the button. That's discharging the saved power that was in there. So you want to make sure that you do that, because you don't want that little bit of power to cause any type of problems for you. So always unplug. I don't know what person wants to try to work on a PC while it's plugged up. Not me. And self-grounding is not as good as using the wrist strap. And all the little, a lot of the little tech kits come with ESD straps. So EMI is electromagnetic interference, and that's not as dangerous as ESD. It's two or more magnetic fields interfering with each other, but it can cause permanent damage to some components and erase data on some storage devices. So you have to be careful about the way you handle components. Just like when you're in a space, you won't be in a help desk environment or a data center environment with carpet on the floor. It's a no-no. Aside from the fact that it holds dust, it increases the possibility of problems with electromagnetic interference and the static discharge. Radio frequency, a lot of the wireless stuff that we deals with radio signals. Like Wi-Fi and all that is radio signals. So it can, like different signals or interference from other devices that emit radio waves can cause interruption with your Wi-Fi or other components, right? So just think about like I say, I used to do customer service for Comcast, and people used to talk about their Wi-Fi signal being low, right? But they have the microwave, the baby monitor, a bunch of other stuff that all work on the same frequency. So all of these radio waves are interfering with each other, which can cause problems with your signal and communications, especially in wireless networks. We'll talk about that. Most of the time, interruptions with Wi-Fi have to do with other devices on the same frequency and the radio waves causing interruption. Questions? Going once, going twice, going three times. Physical safety. And y'all gonna read this. Y'all gonna read the chapter. But the reality of the situation is, take like I'll upload pictures of cable catastrophe with regards to being attacked. Like if you ever need to go into the data closet somewhere and there's cables everywhere, like the good tech or the good network tech or is organized, routes the cables, use the zip ties to tie them off and out of the way and coordinate the cables that go to these devices. A lot of times that's not what you're going to see. And it causes tripping hazards, like you don't want cables going across a doorway, right? If it's a necessity, then they have those wire molds that you can put over it so that it's not a tripping hazard. Cable messes are a huge problem in IT. And then lifting heavy items, and that's what lifting heavy items in any situation. You lift with your legs as opposed to bending over, bending your back. And watch for tripping hazards and obstructions when you're moving. If you're carrying a heavy computer case or one of the old big back monitors, you know what I mean, then you want to put the screen towards you and carry it that way and lift with your legs. And they have more detail about that in the chapter with regard to physical safety. Hot components. It's usually hazardous if you open up a monitor. We don't open monitors. They got people that do. They don't even need to open these monitors like that anymore. But inside the computer, like the heat sinks and the cooling fins or the power supply is very hot. If you open a printer, the fuser, that joint will burn your skin off and you won't even feel it. That's how dead the nerves that touch that fuser will be. You will not even feel the burn. It'll be gone. That's how hot it is. And when you doing repairs, for me, yeah, if you don't know, my locks are literally down to my booty. So I'm always leaning over looking into a computer case and my hair is hanging down into the computer case. So I have to always have a bunch of scrunchies on deck to wind my hair up in the back so that it doesn't fall in front of me when I'm working. Jewelry, same thing. Jewelry can cause static problems, right? And men that wear ties, and the tie get caught in the printer or something like that, you're going to have problems. Just we want to pay attention to all of those different things. Carpentry work, we ain't building no server closets, so we don't really deal with that. And the air filters and safety goggles and all that stuff. See this cable situation right here? It's a popular thing. It happens a lot.
Unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, see, he tripped and dropped the, yeah, that's ugly. That's what we don't want to happen. So you need to watch your step, especially when you're carrying stuff you can't see in front of you or can't see your feet. And the cooling fans and stuff like that. Gotta watch it. There's a lot of components inside of a computer or printer that are very, 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 very hot. So you have to be careful. Let them cool off before you start your work. The basic tech toolkit, a Phillips head screwdriver, the 3-prong retriever, the multi-heat driver. So if you use this extra parts tube right here is your friend. Because when we're removing screws, you need to be able to keep them, and keep them organized. And sometimes now they have like mats that they make that are customized to specific laptops. So as you pull the parts out, you can put them. They do the same thing for the cell phones. As you pull the parts out, you can put them down on the mat in the appropriate places, so you know exactly where to put them. You want to have, If you wear glasses like me, you want to have a magnifying glass because a lot of times, and especially like looking at a motherboard, once we get inside a computer, you look at a motherboard and it's writing all over the board, but most of the time you can't see it if you don't have good eyes. Plastic tweezers, because you don't want to be digging inside and causing problems with metal tweezers, so you want to have plastic tweezers. The basic tech kits have these basic components, and they have small kits and they have huge kits. I have what I want to call a medium-sized kit. It has a little soldering iron and came with some solder and a bunch of different screwdrivers and a bunch of stuff. A little mini fan, vacuum and all that stuff. And we'll get into all that as time goes on. But that's a basic tech toolkit.
Yeah, and the toolkits, you can get good ones for about $20-$25 on Amazon.
And then we've talked about, like when we talked about the 5 things that we put on a computer to help us. As a tech, you'll have a kit of software tools that you use for your troubleshooting, right? Malware stuff, memory, diagnostic software, stuff like that. You'll all have, a list of the basic type of software. And a lot of times it's depending on your job, they use specific tools. But, you want to have that as part of your toolkit. You want to have software tools as well as the actual hardware tools. I don't want to get into this right now because we almost at the 10:30. But I do want to go over this because the troubleshooting theory is you have to memorize these 6 steps. Memorize, because they'll ask you questions on a test that'll be like, once you've tested your theory and determined what the cause is, what is the next thing that you want to do? So we need to be able to know these 6 steps, memorize these 6 steps. I'm going to be asking, memorize. So when you go in the book, memorize the 6 troubleshooting steps. This is according to the CompTIA troubleshooting theory. Identify the problem, establish a theory of probable cause, test the theory to determine the cause, right? Because if you test the theory and it don't work, then you got to establish a new theory. So that'll tell you if you're going on to step 4 or if you're going back to, somebody is giving me wicked feedback right now. Like they driving or something.
Got it.
And after you establish the theory of probable cause, question the obvious, even though it may seem crazy, but you need to question it anyway. Test the theory to determine the cause, and then establish a plan of action to resolve the problem and implement a solution. And then you always want to verify full system functionality and implement preventative measures, right? So that's part of the education process. Even we verify everything is working, now we got to figure out how we stop this from happening again. And then document. Document findings, actions, and outcomes. This troubleshooting theory you need to memorize. So I'm going to be doing round robin questions to say to somebody, I'll be like, Carrie, what's the 4th troubleshooting theory? And you need to be able to give me that in order, because they go in that order. So you need to be able to memorize them in that order. Not like that corny song that lady made, but we're not going to talk about that. 6 troubleshooting steps in the book. We're going to talk about it next class, and I'm going to be asking questions. But you need to be able to memorize this. There's certain things I'm going to tell you that you need to memorize. Memorize, like ports and what they do. You need to memorize those too, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, we're going to stop right here because we need to get into detail when we discuss the troubleshooting theory, because as you saw in the breakdown, troubleshooting is a huge part of what we do, and a huge part of it's a huge chunk of both tests. So I'm gonna stop right here, and Devontae, remember that we stopped right here at the troubleshooting theory. So we'll go through all the 6 steps in the troubleshooting theory, and then we'll go from there on Thursday.
All right, I'll make a note of that.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
Y'all see how fast that 2 hours go by? Dang, I'm almost good.
Yeah, I
It's
have one
10:32.
question. Do you recommend any specific kit, or is it just find yourself a kit? Because usually there's like the upper level kits, and there's just the crappy kits, right?
Yeah, right. That's why I was like, the middle of the road, somewhere in like the $20 range. Don't go spending $100 on a kit, cause
don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want the little rinky-dink one. You want to be like in the middle of the road. Give you a nice variety of screwdrivers, and some of them have screw kits, replacement screw kits, and you know, the tweezers and the 3-prong plucking thingy. I can't remember the name of it. And yeah, like a medium-sized kit. And we post some examples in the room so you can see.
Good.
And with some prices from Amazon, so you can see the range of what we mean. And this one goes to 35, so it's not that many slides after that. It's basically going through the troubleshooting steps, and we definitely need to hammer that. You guys need to know that. Throughout the course, I'm going to be asking you about that and going back to it, and somebody going to be on blast, and I'm going to be like, give me all 6 steps right now.
One other question, and this, what you use today, I don't have this, but you use to sheet your class?
Because this is for the teacher. It's the PowerPoint.
Okay, well, just making sure.
But it's in reference to the book that you have.
Mm-hmm. Exact same order.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just a visual, so, you know, I know what points to hit. But this is just for the instructor. But everything that I've gone over is in your book.
Right.
And this is chapter 2. So I need y'all to make sure y'all read chapter 2 fully. And chapter 3. What's chapter 3, Demonte?
Chapter 3 is... Hold on. I can just open up the slides to find out.
Oh, you could take control back, I guess. I mean, we done.
Oh. Well, it's not my screen, so we're good. Chapter 3 is the visible computer, so we're talking about, we start getting into the computer and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the outside, we don't even go inside yet with chapter 3.
Okay.
Just
Charles said good night, everybody.
All right, good night, everybody.
So, if you have any questions about this chapter or the next chapter, make sure we're good with chapters 1 through 3, people.
Brother Demonte, I have a question.
Yes.
The recordings for this class, are they available for download like they were last year?
So, because of what happened last year, Mr. Brown and I were actually talking on the phone today. He's going to put up a YouTube channel that will be specific for this class and for this room. It'll be private. No one else outside can access it. And the videos, recordings will be posted up there so they're never lost like they were last time.
Okay.
But until then, I'll continue to post the link to stream them and download them as well. I didn't do a download link for the last recording, only the one to stream it.
Right. Okay.
All right, everybody. If you have no other questions, I have fun as usual. And if I'm running late coming from work on Thursday, Demonte, you know where we starting from. I should be here because even if I don't have the presentation up, I'm gonna be calling in on the phone in the car.
All right. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
J.C. Daniels said, what's the homework? Read chapters 1 through 3 and go through the questions. 1 we went through. 2 we were in today. We just about finished. And 3 we're getting into on Thursday.
Okay.
All right, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
You're
Family.
welcome.